Thank you for listening and supporting the Daily Memphian. Sign up for one of our many free newsletters and breaking news alerts at dailymemphian.com/email to receive the latest local news stories impacting our community. Our weekly newsletters cover everything from sports to arts and culture, business, food, and more, along with daily updates of all the news we publish each day. Sign up or manage your email preferences at dailymemphian.com/email.
I'm Bill Dries with the Daily Memphian, talking with Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland, and this is On the Record. We record Friday, January 27th, 2023. Because events are moving so quickly on the issue we are here to talk about, we're talking before the release of police video recordings Friday evening of the Tyree Nichols incident and after the filing of criminal charges yesterday, against 5 Memphis police officers, each charged with second-degree murder, among other charges, in the death of Nichols. Mayor, first of all, what specific time today will the city release the video, and what considerations have gone into what to include in that video and what to leave out if anything is left out?
I think the video will be posted sometime after 6 p.m. and it's going to what we're going to post is the same video seen by Mr. Nichols' family, and I believe it's an hour and 7 minutes long. Okay.
All right. Is policing, the city's strategy for policing, crime prevention, law enforcement, police recruitment, is any of that different as a result of what has happened with this incident since January 7th?
The Scorpion unit is inactive.
Okay.
So they're not operating, and that's been since the day of this incident. Okay.
Do you foresee any longer range changes in the city's strategy?
Maybe. I think that depends on the review that we're doing with this outside consultant that we're going to hire, who I don't know who that's going to be yet. But if you step back, and it's obvious these 5 men violated their training, violated city policy, violated state law, which is why they got indicted. But we still need to examine if there's anything that we could do to prevent this from happening again, because in my thought, we need to do everything we can to prevent it. But we need some outside eyes to kind of really look at what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously we're going through self-analysis too, but we really need also somebody with some expertise to look from the outside.
Well, and Chief Davis, I think, talked about this when I talked to her when she was still applying for the job of police chief. She talked about the gap between police training, which is ongoing for police officers. It's more than just the academy. This is throughout an officer's career. She talked about the gap between that and what happens when an officer goes on the beat with other officers who say, this is the way that it really works. Forget the training you got. Do you think that is part of what might be at play here?
It could be. Although these specialized units get enhanced training and more frequent enhanced training, but it could be. It's probably, if there's something that we could do to prevent it, it's probably something that we're not thinking of right now. But, I want us to look at training and hiring and policies and culture, because it very well may be culture among this small group, and we just need to, like I said, do everything we can so that such a horrendous event doesn't happen again.
Right. And culture sounds like it's something that you can't just pass a policy for, that it's something deeper than that, probably even more elusive than just saying, well, here's a policy in writing in the book, see it, obey it,
Correct. An ordinance or policy does not solve that. It's and this is one of the advantages of having Chief Davis come in, is having fresh eyes, although she's been here a year and a half, but still relatively fresh eyes and willing to do things differently. And she has done some things differently, but I have full faith that she can lead us through this process.
Okay. Attorney Ben Crump just held a press conference right before I came in to do this podcast with you. And he says that the way the criminal case has been handled by the city is a blueprint for handling these kind of incidents nationwide. What do you think about that? Your reaction to that?
I agree. I made a statement yesterday, and I appreciate Chief Davis and her team leading the administrative process. I appreciate DA Mulroy and his leadership on the prosecution. It's when people look at other incidents across the country, this is they've done a really good job here of pursuing justice for Tyree. Mm-hmm. And it's not over, but it's a really strong start, and we're committed to finishing strong too.
Okay, there has always been this balance, and I think, as you well know, it's an uneasy balance between advocating to deal with our city's historic problem with violent crime, and at the same time calling for the criminal justice system to work better, to work in a more just manner, to work in a more efficient manner. Has the balance between those two necessary priorities changed as a result of this young man's death?
I'm sure I understand your question.
Well, we've had some pretty vigorous debates about how far to go in crime in enforcement of laws and sending the message that will discourage criminal conduct, and reforming the criminal justice system, that those people who might be arrested and charged in such an approach, reforming the system that they go through. And do you think that this incident has changed kind of the balance between we've got to deal with violent crime and we've got to make sure the system works well for everybody?
See, I think you can do both, and I think we're doing both in this situation. No one is above the law, including police officers, and these police officers broke the law, and they ought to be dealt with. As I think Speaker Sexton said today, because of truth in sentencing, they'll serve 100% of their time. But we also need to lift up our law enforcement officers, and I said this yesterday, part of my anger, obviously after being angry for the family, was for the rest of the police department, who are good public servants who've sustained an injury to their reputation, and we're going to have to work very hard to regain trust. But those men and women are working hard every day to protect you and me, and I want them to continue to work to reduce violent crime. But it's so clear that what was done by this group of men is way beyond. It's not law enforcement. In fact, it's not. I was almost going to say it's beyond law enforcement. It is not law enforcement. And I think David Roush said that yesterday, and I've forgotten how he worded it, but I think he was correct. So I don't think it changes that. But I haven't really spent much time thinking about it because right now we need to be focused on bringing justice in this case, and that's been our focus.
All right. Final point. A lot of schools and some businesses are closing early today, have called off activities for this evening. Do you think that that's appropriate for them to do?
Well, I'm not going to micromanage how other people operate. So that's their choice. What I would just say to people is use common sense, stay, in touch with what's going on through media and other sources, and know that that law enforcement, including Memphis Police Department, is hoping for the best with peaceful protest, but is prepared for whatever happens.
All right. We've been talking with Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland. I'm Bill Dries, and this has been On the Record.
In-depth journalism in the Memphis community, the Daily Memphian is of Memphis, not just in Memphis, and seeks to tell the stories of this city. TheDailyMemphian.com. Truth in place.